Now tomorrow it's going to be 5 years since Madeleine McCann went missing, and this morning I'm joined by her parents Kate and Jerry. I'm going to be talking to them both in just a minute, but first this. This is the final photo of Madeleine. 7 hours later she disappeared from her family's holiday apartment in Portugal while her parents and their friends dined at a restaurant nearby. The McCanns began a desperate search for Madeleine with appeals across Europe and a visit to the Pope in Rome. 3 months later, they were faced with yet more turmoil when they were named as arguidos, official suspects. There had been dozens of sightings of Madeleine, but a year after her disappearance, the Portuguese inquiry was officially shelved. The McCanns were eventually cleared of any involvement in July 2008. Employing private investigators and raising money through charity events, their search for Madeleine continued. Last year they appealed directly to David Cameron. Within 24 hours he announced funding for a police investigative review team. They have identified 195 new leads and last week released this image of how Madeleine might look today. Detectives believe there's real hope that Madeleine can still be found alive. Well, Kate and Jerry McCann join me now, and we see that new photograph, there's a new investigation, new hope.
Absolutely, I think we're probably as positive as we have been in a long time.
I can completely understand that. I know we all keep saying this, but it just doesn't feel like 5 years.
In some ways it's been the longest 5 years and the quickest 5 years of our life, and certainly, I don't think we could have imagined 5 years ago that we'd be able to pass so quickly.
No, exactly. And the thing about it is, though, she is frozen in time for us, for the rest of us. You know, we do see those photographs of her as a little one, which is why it's so important to get that new image out there. And how do you feel about the new image? Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's what she would be like?
I do, to be honest, and although, I mean, I work with the artist a little bit, and although we did several drafts, it's very similar to actually the very first draft. So when it came through, you know, I really thought, wow, I feel it's quite good, and I can see, you know, I can see us all in it. You know, we've had different people saying, I can see Jerry in it, I can see you in it, Sean Amley. So I think we're definitely there with something that has at least a strong family resemblance.
And it is, as we say, it's so important to get that out there, to realise, you know, that she would soon be 9. You know, she's not that little girl anymore. That's the thing, isn't it?
And we'd be really keen. I mean, the general public helped us with the last stage progression, so we'd be really keen for them, really grateful if they could circulate that image as far and wide as they can.
That's so important, you know, to get it both here and everywhere else, you know, whether it's in Portugal or Spain or further afield. You know, it's really important to get that out there. You did make that direct appeal to the Prime Minister, and he did respond, and the investigation is going on with an incredible amount of information to sift through. But the police have said, the detectives have said that she might still be alive.
Well, we've always believed that, you know, and we're realistic. We don't know what's happened, but we know there's a very good chance that she could be alive. There's no evidence to the contrary, and we know, you know, year after year, missing children that have been abducted, you know, are found alive.
So we've seen those cases, haven't we? And funny enough, every time I see one of those cases, I always think of you, because I always think, well, that must give you hope. I mean, sometimes it's horrendous circumstances, but still, you know, the child is found.
Absolutely.
And it must make you feel, well, there is hope.
I think particularly the cases with the younger children, it's often not horrendous circumstances.
Indeed.
So a lot of the kids who are taken as babies or toddlers have been just brought up as normal children. Obviously with the older children it's been a bit more unpleasant, but you know, they are incredibly adaptable and cope well.
And interestingly, Ernie Allen, who's the chief exec of the National Centre in Washington, notified us of another case in America last year, and it was actually a man who recognised himself from an age progression image.
Extraordinary.
And that case had been closed as a probable homicide about 30 years before.
So and that's why it's so important for you to keep doing what you're doing. You know, it's so important. Can you have in any way, though, a sort of normal life, if you like? I mean, is life relatively normal? Have you been able to do that?
No, I think we've kind of, you know, we've reached that point, certainly for the last few years, where we can do a lot of normal things. You know, we still obviously have the Madeleine work going on day in, day out. Of course, you know, that's inevitable until we find her. But we certainly, you know, as you know, Jerry works, Sean and Emily, I mean, you can't not have a normal life.
Of course.
You know, we have our family days out, they do all the normal things that kids do.
It's a new normality, I think, you know, as opposed to having 5 in the house. There's 4 in the house most of the time, but I keep saying this, but to anyone, a casual observer, I think we'd look like an ordinary family.
Yeah.
And that's how it is most of the time. Sean and Emily completely understand what we're doing, and occasions like this, why we're away from home, and they know we keep them updated about what's happening and the developments. They know about the Metropolitan Police, they know about the new age progression, all of these things. And
because they've grown up with Madeline
Absolutely.
always there. I mean, they're always so much aware of the big sister. Of course they are. Do you feel very overprotective of them? It must be so difficult not to be. I would imagine it would be hard not to sort of just want them by your side all the time.
I mean, I think that is true, and you have to kind of fight against it a little bit, to be honest, to let them develop and enjoy life like other children. But it's inevitable, I think, that...
I think it's a balance that all parents go through every day, isn't it? And I think I'm certainly more protective than what I was, and Kate, before I would have said, was on the overprotective side, and that's one of the ironic things about this. But you can't mollycoddle them at the same time. They've got to develop and become independent, and I do feel strongly about that. And we've got to remember what happened to us is incredibly rare.
And you're right, it would be really sad if your twins had to suffer because of what happened. It'd be really, that wouldn't be fair to them.
Absolutely.
But completely understandable that you just want to, wrap them in cotton wool and not let them out of your sight. Nobody would ever think that was anything wrong. The public have been incredibly helpful, I know. When you're out and about, just normal things like, shopping or whatever, do people come up to you? Do they know what to say to you?
They do. I mean, all the people that come up to us, and it still happens, regularly. They always come up and they say something nice. It's always really supportive. How are you doing? And we're with you and keep going. You will find you, and it does give you a lift.
It does. The support we've had, be it by emails or letters, and this last week in particular, I've had hundreds of letters and cards again, but people are incredibly supportive, although you're absolutely right that there's a large proportion of people who just don't know what to say.
I know.
And we understand that, and we know it's difficult, and it's a bit like if someone who you're working with, or if someone in the family dies, and there's that awkwardness about just what to say. But it is, for us, it's much better it's out in the open, to be honest.
Of course, and then people, of course. And you've gone back to work, you've tried to get some sort of normality, because it's important.
I had quite a few hugs when I went back.
I'll bet you did. I'll bet you did. But now, I think one of the best things would be now, actually, that it's quite normal. They just treat you as another doctor, if you like, to another colleague.
Well, I hope so, because ultimately I've got to be professional about what I do, and I think when I did go back, it was almost as important for me as a coping mechanism, because we were hamstrung in the search at that time, and it really gave me something to focus on. And I went back and I started doing a lot of academic work, which has continued, and I'm doing that more and more now. So for me, it's definitely been good.
And you've both, I know, you work hard to raise money, obviously, for the battle to find Madeline and to fund that, but also for others as well. I've seen you doing amazing runs and extraordinary things that you do. I think you've just signed up for another one, I believe. But it's not just for Madeline, it's for other missing children too.
Yeah, well, we've always said since the very beginning, something good has to come out of this. So if we can help in some way, other families that are suffering, other children that are missing, then obviously, we'd like to do that. So we have tried to support other charities, and I continue to do that, both Missing People and PACT, and I intend to do more of that, really, to help missing people over the next year.
Because it helps them, but I would imagine it helps you as well, in some way.
Well, it does. It does. We've had quite an experience, to put it mildly, over the last 5 years, and we've learnt a lot from that. So, I do feel that if we can help people, that's a good thing, and it does make you feel better if you can help someone and give something positive from it all.
Do you sometimes, you must think about a reunion in your head, about what that must be like? You must do.
Do you know what? I don't that often, because it's almost like, it's so good, it's so beautiful, I guess, that I don't want to take myself there and for it not to be real. Obviously I've had a few dreams along the way, not recently, and they've been so tangible that it's incredibly painful, because that's what we want every single day.
Of course, of course.
You know, it'd be amazing. I
It's
know
what everybody wants.
It's hard to go there.
It is, I would imagine it's very difficult for you to go there. But the thing about it is you're never going to give up on it, are you?
Absolutely not.
There's not going to be a time when you say, we've done all we can, that's it, you know, you've done all you can, it's never going to come to that.
You know, and even Sean and Emily, you know, Sean said to me, I mean, this is going back about 18 months now, he said, you know, Mummy, if you haven't found Madeleine when we get older, you know, me and Emily will look for Madeleine. And I have absolutely no doubt about that at all. But I don't want them to have to be in the position where they're carrying around this kind of, you know, sadness and frustration or whatever it is, you know, to find Madeleine. You know, we want to find her now.
Of course. And as we said, it's really important to get that photograph out there, you know, for the officers to be doing the work that they're doing. I mean, they seem to be optimistic, and hopefully one day the case in Portugal to be reopened as well. You know, all of these things, you know, all of these things happening at the one time.
It's just such a difference for us at the minute to have the Metropolitan Police driving that.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't. Previous years we felt like we've been on our own to a large extent. And now, you know, we've got tremendous resource, doing a great job. We feel so much better supported, and you know that those things that we've been talking about for the last 3.5 years about looking at every single piece of information, that's going on, and we're happy to be led by, you know, the police and let the Metropolitan Police do the negotiations with the Portuguese authorities. But it does feel now finally it's someone in the authorities and the British authorities are actually trying to find Madeleine, who is completely innocent, of course.
We're really grateful to the police for what they're doing, and we're also really grateful to the general public, because I don't believe we'd have got the review without their support.
No, that's
I mean,
true.
people petitioned and petitioned, and you know, wrote letters, and here we are. And we just, you know, hope obviously that the case will get reopened in due course, because we certainly believe that's our best chance of finding Madeleine.
Absolutely, it's the reunion that we all want. We really do. Wish you all the very best. I know you've got a tough day today, and obviously a tough day tomorrow as well, as you remember us. You remember her every day, but obviously tomorrow being 5 years. Thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you.
Wish you all the
Thank you
best.
very much.
Thank you.